We tried to tell them about Jimmy. I know who that is. Love everyone. What's up, everybody? Tony Cutillo, PhillyInfluencers.com, Heat Ratio Sports, Fox Sports, The Gambler. Man, listen, right off the jump, Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy. I don't know what I was more sad about. Just looking towards the future of the 76ers franchise or watching Jimmy Butler, the guy that should still be on this team, dropping 40 last night and showing why he is the man. Jimmy Butler, man, I miss Jimmy so much. I really do. I know. Listen, I'm dead serious. Jimmy Butler should still be here. And for my money, the process was over when Jimmy Butler left. The process was over, in my opinion, when we decided to sign Tobias Harris. And we decided to go all in, and we let Jimmy Butler go. What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy? It's a shame. It is. I mean, we've been through so much as a franchise. We've watched so much as a franchise, and we had to watch last night while our team is home making microwave popcorn, watching the players on the bubble. We're going to watch our closer, our guy, Jimmy Butler, who he embodied everything Philadelphia meant. Everything. We had the guy. We had him. And you know what? I don't want to talk about, I don't want to speculate why he wasn't signed. Did Jimmy, not get along with Ben? Or was it a low ball? I don't know what it was, okay? But all I can tell you right now is that Jimmy Butler should be on this team. And because Jimmy Butler isn't on this team, we have to look forward to the future and say, what is next? What is next? Because we had our closer. Think about this. Think about the shots that Jimmy created on his own yesterday. Think about the way he commanded the offense. Think about a way that he just took it, right? I listen, no matter what you say about anybody, Jimmy Butler can win you a playoff series. And that's what he's going to do in Miami. That's what he's been doing all year. Candace said he's a killer. It's true. Listen, you said it exactly. How they elevate in big-time moments. We lost that. It's such a shame. It really is, because we had it. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. I can forgive the ridiculous trade for Markelle Fultz when Jason Tatum was sitting right there, if and only if you were to take Jimmy Butler and re-sign him. Without re-signing Jimmy Butler, this whole team is a complete mess. It is a complete mess. And that is one of the biggest issues I have right now. One of the biggest issues I have is what is next? What is next for this team? And then Joel, listen, I'm going to say something right now. You can say whatever you want about Joel Embiid. We can say whatever we want about Ben Simmons. But Joe, listen, I need a leader, Joe. I need somebody. Joel Embiid showed his true colors. I was all on the Joel and Ben Simmons trade. I was all aboard, bringing a new coach, bringing a new system, see what these guys can do. But Joel disappointed me. And I already knew he was immature. I already knew he wasn't ready to be a leader. But listen, Joe, you don't take everything that happened and you kind of jab at Brett Brown. And I'm not going to stick up for Brett Brown here as the coach, but as the man with what he endured. I agree. Brett had to go. And me and Candace have been saying it for 2 years. It was 2 years too late. I completely agree. But when you come out as one of the supposed leaders on this team, and you basically throw the coach under the bus when you yourself played like dog shit, you mean to tell me that that's okay? No, that's not okay. That's not what this team is about. And for that, in my opinion, instead of trying to make this team better, you're on Twitter again. Proud of you, Jimmy. Way to go, Jimmy. And I get it. Listen, I know what Joel's doing. Joel could have texted Jimmy on his own and said, hey, I'm proud of you. But no, he had to go on Instagram. He had to go on Twitter. He had to show the world that he's out there. And that's getting absolutely annoying. I'm getting tired of it. I really am. If that's what listen, I don't care what kind of talent he is. If that's what we have to look forward to for the next 5 years, then you know what? Just trade Joel Embiid then. Just trade him. Just trade, because you know what? One thing that I'm learning, and I'm going on the other side here, and help me out, but I really, really am going on the other side, and I'm watching this NBA bubble. The weird if tweet. Yeah, exactly. Come on, right, Candace? I mean, we know what he's doing, and we all know. But let's think about this. The NBA bubble, I'm watching performances by Damian Lillard. I'm watching performances by Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray. What's the one thing we don't have? The one thing, we don't have a shooting guard. We don't have a guard who can create his own shot. We don't have that guy. And you know what? Even Jimmy, as much as I love Jimmy is not going to go one-on-one with Jamal Murray and Damian Lillard. He will hold his own for a series, but for the entire year, it's not going to happen. That's where this team is screwed. If there's a way, let me tell you something. This is one of the weirdest years with COVID, Corona, whatever you want to call it. We got virtual school. We got no fans in stadiums. Who knows? Maybe, just maybe, we change the world here and we bring in a guy like a Devin Booker. Somehow we get a Devin Booker here on this team. And I'll tell you what, if that means that we have to trade the entire moxie of this team, I'm keeping Ben. I'm trading Joel. Okay, let's trade Joel and see what we can get for him. Let's bring in a Devin Booker type player in here, and we go with Devin and we go with Ben. And you know what? Listen, the low post game, it's not working. I hate to say it. It's just not. It's not going to work in this league anymore. It's not, unless all of a sudden Joel Embiid is Anthony Davis, which isn't the case. It's sad. Listen, I don't know if you can get a coach in here to make this work the way it is, especially when you look at what's going on right now in the NBA. Really, listen, Mike checks in. Fultz is supposed to be that guy. Wrong. You know, it's funny. Everybody says that, Mike, and I agree. You know, especially when that trade happened. But if you look at the player that Jason Tatum is right now, Jason Tatum he is an enigma. He is the guy that we need on this team. He is the prototypical player we need for spacing and offense for this Sixers team is Jason Tatum, and we could have had him. And again, that was, you're bringing Brian Colangelo. Come on, man. Come on. Johnny Nash Sexton says Sixers have zero heart. Listen, Johnny, I agree. I do. I really, really do. You can say what you want, but, question people's fortitude, question people's heart. I do question their heart, because the Sixers just look like a team that has no interest in winning. They don't. And I think, listen, there's a reason why Jimmy Butler left Minnesota. There's a reason why Jimmy Butler left Philadelphia. Okay, he felt the same way. And this goes with what exactly this world has turned into. Okay, we've seen this every day as older adults and younger adults. The new millennium society, they don't have the same work ethic and mentality that we have had. They just don't. They're a different breed. They really are. So when you are able to get guys that are willing, like, listen, the Philadelphia Phillies signed one of Bryce Harper. Okay, that's what they signed. There's a guy who does what he needs to do all the time and gives it his all because he wants to win. He has the heart, right? That's what he does. But when you look at the 76ers, okay, do you think Joel Embiid has that kind of mentality? Do you think Joel Embiid harps on a loss? I highly doubt it. And I'm not trying to take away anything from these people's personal accolades. But what I'm saying is that this team, exactly what Johnny said, zero heart. And you think that Jimmy Butler didn't see that? You think that Jimmy Butler didn't say, whoa, wait a minute here. What are these guys doing, right? What are these guys doing? Mike checked the process was going to work and we had correct management. That's a great statement. That is a great statement, because you know what? Let's think about if that idiot Brian Colangelo was never brought into the fray, right? Let's think about if they never made that trade. Let's think about if we never traded, for Zaire Smith and we still have Mikal Bridges on this team. Let's think about we had Jason Tatum on this team. Think about how much of a different makeup this team would actually be. Okay, we wouldn't have Tobias Harris on this team. And again, I've been calling it for 2 years. Tobias Harris is the softest player in the NBA. He's the softest player in the NBA that averages 18 points a game. That's it. That's all he does. He's going to do nothing more for you. Zero. He's not going to do it. He has his money. Listen, he got the money because what else were the Sixers going to do? Think about it. What else were the Sixers going to do? The Sixers made 2 trades, Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. Were they going to admit that both trades were a failure? Is that what they were going to do? As soon as Jimmy jumped ship, that's when the Tobias Harris wagon came through. That's exactly what happened, right? Johnny Tobias is a guy who gets good numbers on bad teams. Exactly. Johnny, he's not the guy. And listen, when you're a player that's under 27 years old and you've been traded to 3 teams in under 27 years old, there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason why Detroit's seen this. There's a reason why the Clippers seen this. And now the Sixers are seeing it. The Sixers are seeing it. Listen, he does a great deal of work in the community. I completely agree. I will take nothing away from what Tobias Harris does for social injustice and what he does for the community. When we talk about the kids and the poverty-stricken families, he does an amazing work. But unfortunately, the player on the court that's getting $180+ million to be our closer, to be our scorer, he's not producing. And think about this. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, okay, but think about the makeup of this team and think about going forward next year when we're talking about Kyrie Irving and we're talking about Kevin Durant and Karis LeVert. And think about this. Think about what's going to happen in the Eastern Conference. It is going to be an entirely different makeup. Boston will continue to be reigning supreme over us, just because they will. And we have to go in a completely different direction. We really, really do. I'll be honest, before we got him, I didn't even have him on my radar. Me neither, man. This is a team. It's a collection of players. That's how it feels. And that's right. It's a collect. There's no one guy that stands out. Even though, Joel Embiid should be that guy. Joel Embiid, they say it all the time. You hear Charles Barkley say it. You hear Shaquille O'Neal say it. You heard Chris Webber say it on telecast. Listen, he could be the most dominant player in the NBA if he really wanted to be. But Joe doesn't want to be. Joe doesn't. See, here's the problem. Joe only does what he wants to do. Joe is not going to listen to another coach. Joe is not going to listen to anybody else. He's going to do what he wants. And, listen, Jimmy Butler may have liked Joel Embiid as the person. That doesn't mean he liked him as a player. Remember that. Just because Joel Embiid liked hanging around with Jimmy Butler and Jimmy liked hanging with Joel, that doesn't mean they like playing with each other on the court. Just remember that. I still firmly believe that Jimmy Butler left this team because he was not given the right offer. I still think that Elton Brand played his cards wrong, lowball Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy thought, okay, it's not going to work here. Let me start thinking of options. And he went to a Miami team who has a lot of guys, a lot of young players, and for my money, a top 3 coach in the NBA and Eric Spoelstra. And this is what happened. You're watching it unfold right now. Here's the one thing about Jimmy Butler. And this is why I love Jimmy Butler. For many years, okay, I'm just going to be honest here for a second. For many years, I've been told, me, myself, I cannot do what I'm doing now. I do not have the voice. I do not have the style for radio or podcasting. I have been told I cannot be a publicist and run my own PR company. I have been told that I'll be knocked down. I don't have the credentials for it. I've been told all of this, but you know what? That gives me the drive to succeed even more. And that's exactly what Jimmy Butler has. He has the drive. Jimmy Butler is doing exactly what he wants to do because Jimmy knows that people are saying he couldn't do it. And that's what drives Jimmy Butler. I think they said, Johnny, I think you're right. It's a good point. This was definitely not Jimmy's decision. This was a team decision. I think they said no too. And to protect Ben and the coach, I think you could be right. I think you could be right because they knew that he was going to call out both of those guys. He already called out Brett Brown, right? He already called out Brett Brown. And the thing is, if you look in, Al Horford, let's take Al Horford, for instance. For all the people that say that, Brett Brown and, is this and Brett Brown is that, and I'm too hard on Brett Brown and Al Horford, no matter what his play on the court, Al Horford is a veteran. Al Horford knows exactly the way to talk to the media, exactly the way to get his point across without labeling somebody and directing a point directly at them. That's exactly what Al Horford did when we talked about Brett Brown. He never actually called out Brett Brown, but what he did do was he did question some things in the locker room. He did question some of the styles. He did question some of the formations and how he was being used. That was a direct shot at Brett Brown. Okay, that's exactly what that was. And unfortunately, this is what Jimmy would have been different at. Jimmy would have just called Brett Brown right out. Jimmy would have called Ben right out. And you know what? Unfortunately, unfortunately for us, Ben probably needs that from time to time. He needs somebody to get in his ass. He needs somebody to get him in his face and say, "Yo, Ben, you got to man up, man. Let's go. You need to be a leader on this team." And again, it doesn't. This is not about Ben shooting. This isn't about any of that. What this is about is getting a team together to be able to compete. And we were sold on this process, right? Excuse me. We were sold on this process. This is going to bring us multiple championships, right? This is what we were told. It's going to bring us multiple championships. And we suffered, man. We suffered long and hard. We really did. And that's why I was so excited when they were bringing a guy like Jimmy Butler here. And I know there was a lot of people that were, they were standoffish because it was basically, the Sixers version of Terrell Owens when Terrell Owens came in here, into the Philadelphia Eagles. And it was like, listen, what is this guy going to be? Is he going to be too outlandish? Is he going to be too out front and center? Is he going to command the spotlight more than any of our other players? Is he going to be over the top when we want him to be kind of, under the key, so to speak? So one thing I will say is Jimmy Butler came in here, and Jimmy Butler was a consummate professional. Jimmy Butler, the one thing I liked about him is he really didn't call anybody out per se. He let it speak on the court. He did. He let it speak on the court in Philadelphia. Now, if he would have resigned in Philadelphia, he would have been very vocal. But he was being a good soldier because he knew he wanted to go somewhere else. And what has he done in Miami? He's done exactly what he could have done here in Philadelphia. He's taken players like Bam, and he's created them into monsters, right? That's what he's done. Think about that. Tyler Hero, he's taking kids that we know that had the ability, but he's showing them how to be a true NBA player. Kelly Olynyk is a tremendous role player. Again, where did he come from? He comes from Boston. Another guy, and we talk about Brad Stevens. So again, time in and time out, it kills me to see players that either were here and should be here producing while we have to live in this dreck of a future of this organization. And we still don't know where it's going to go. We still don't know who the coach is going to be. We still don't know what kind of direction management is going to be. We're talking about maybe trading the team, right? I mean, not trading the team, trading spots, taking it, getting away from the Wells Fargo Center, right? We were talking about them, and we're saying that, hey, at the end of the day, are we going to stay where we are? Are we going to get a brand new? It's so hard for me to talk about a brand new venue when we're going through what we are with COVID right now. And we're talking about, listen, let's get a coach here first. I can't get excited over a move to a different location within the city limits, into a new venue until I have a new coach. I want to know who this coach is going to be. Are we going to shock the world? Are we going to go into the female direction? Johnny asked, what's your thoughts on the coach? I said, I've been very, very vocal, Johnny, that I feel as though, listen, I want to go in a whole new direction. I do. I want to go in a whole new direction. I really feel as though my number one pick, I continue to say it, and I know people don't agree, but it's Becky Hammon. It is. It's Becky Hammon, the assistant coach, the number one assistant coach from the San Antonio Spurs. Even though she is a pop disciple, she is not Brett Brown. She has proved to be a leader of young men. Think about that. Think about that statement. Becky Hammon has proved to be a leader of young men. She coached the USA Olympic team, and she was able to take all those young personalities and make them highly successful and make them a one cohesive unit under her watch, okay? And I'm tired of hearing people say females can't do it. I got back and forth. I'm tired of the female prognosticators to say a female coach can't do it. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. Becky Hammon runs that team right now. Have you seen Popovich? Pop is letting her run that team. She's the one in the timeout. She's the one drawing up the plays. She's the one calling the practices. Pop is actually a resource in San Antonio. So I'll tell you right now, if you want to really swing up things, you bring somebody like a Becky Hammon, and you see what happens, okay? Because I think the reverse effect will work. You talk about people that think they're going to get over on a first-year female head coach. No, I think they're going to work even harder, in my opinion. And then if you're not going to go to the Becky Hammon route, I still like Jason Kidd. I do. I still like Jason Kidd. I think Jason Kidd knows what it takes, especially from a player, right? Who we could say in Jason Kidd, who didn't come in with any kind of jump shot, who didn't come in with any kind of game except speed and finesse. Jason Kidd developed his game on the court, developed this game by hard work, and I think he's been a very, very good coach. He's very experienced, and I would really like to see Jason Kidd here. I still like Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson got a role deal in Golden State. I still think Mark Jackson should be a head coach. I really do. And I think that Mark Jackson is the kind of guy that will come in here. And for all the days he played with the New York Knicks and that kind of, in Madison Square Garden in the Eastern Conference, he knows what it takes. He knows what it takes to win. Okay, he has exactly the right mentality for me, for my money for this team. I know everybody wants to talk about Jay Wright's not coming here, man. I'm not going to say it again. Jay Wright's not coming here. Obviously, if Jay Wright was interested, he'd be the number one prospect for this team. But he's not coming here. It's not happening. John said, can't know much about our business project. Listen, you're right. It's a hard sell, right, on Becky Hammon because of the Spurs route, because of Brett Brown. I completely get it. I completely get it. But at the same time, when you look at it, I think she's in a different kind of leadership role than Brett Brown was when he was with the San Antonio Spurs. Jason Kidd has his. Listen, everybody had their shots, right, Johnny? You have to remember that. You never know. It goes about the organization, goes about the team makeup, and it goes about the time and the era of when he coached. So I'm always willing, given a guy who has been such electric as a player and still has the ability to be an assistant coach under a superstar out there in LA, I still would give him the benefit of the doubt to give him a fresh start. I really would. Mark Jackson, maybe. But what about Jameer Nelson? Listen, Jameer Nelson has a lot of Philly ties. You know that, right? St. Joe's kid. You play in Orlando. We see what he can. He's that kind of guy that you may be able to get something out of. But here's my thing. I don't want to start over with somebody who doesn't have the credentials of coaching either a young team or a team at all. I don't. And the only reason why Becky Hammon comes to speak is because of her commitment to the U.S. Olympic team with younger players. We've seen that play out. But everybody else, I'm not ready to start over. I want a coach here that has coached. I want a coach here that's going to come in with a plan and not say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Never been in this position before. I think this may work. No, I want to come in with a guy who's already got the book, who's already got the binder and says, this is the way we're going to do things. And if people don't like the ship, they can jump off whenever they want, and I'm not giving you a lifeboat. Okay, that's exactly what I want because that's what this team needs. But there's going to have to be some personnel decisions, a lot of personnel decisions on this team. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to make this team viable, how we're going to make it competitive, because it cannot be competitive as previously constructed. If you look at these teams in the NBA playoffs, you tell me right now in the Eastern Conference who you think the Philadelphia 76ers can beat the way they are constructed right now. There's not many teams that are in the bubble right now. There's just not many teams. They're not. Even though I'm not a big fan of Milwaukee, I still would take Milwaukee over the Sixers. I take Indiana over the Sixers. I take Toronto. I take Boston. I take Miami. I mean, come on, the list goes on and on and on, and that's not what we were supposed to be. We were supposed to be the top of the list. Whatever happened to the top of the list, right? Whatever happened to the top that said, hey, Sixers, team to beat the East, right? Team to beat the East. It never happened, man. Never happened. Such a shame. Such a shame. And that last statement to close us out, John checking in, we are looking at the 6 to 8 seed next year. And again, that's just sad. Absolutely sad. I hate to say it, but that's not what this was supposed to be. This was supposed to be, our crowning jewel. This was supposed to be, our, reward for going through the process. And it just absolutely sucks. And it seems like the Nets are coming. Kane is absolutely, that's exactly what I alluded to a little earlier. I'm so teams like the Nets, teams like Indiana who are going to get Victor Oladipo back at full strength, teams like Milwaukee who are definitely going to make a few changes, teams like Boston are just getting younger and more experienced with their players and have a tremendous coach. Teams like Miami, that you think this is the only year Miami is going. Jimmy Butler is developing a squad out there, and let's not forget that those players are all young. There's not going to be many changes in Miami. In Toronto, again, I mean, listen, the list goes on and on. The Sixers have fallen off of grace right now. They've fallen from grace, and it's not good. It's not good, people. Be concerned. Be scared. Seriously, be concerned, because, we could be looking at a long 4 or 5 years. I hate to say it. And, again, we could be witnessing a part of history where we let a window, which I still think last year was it, we let a window completely pass us by again. And I hate to say it. And then what's that lead us to? Starting over again. And I hate to say it. So, again, thanks for everybody joining in. Jigsaw's Judgment. I miss Jimmy Butler. I really do. I miss Jimmy. There's nothing else I could say. I wish Jimmy was here. He's not. I guess we move on. Do me a favor. Give me a follow at Cutillo23, PhillyInfluencer.com, Fox Sports The Gambler, and at The Heat Ratio. We just dropped the episode 126 last night. Give us a rating. Give us a review. We greatly appreciate it. Anybody needs a Prime Roofing for all your roofing needs, Rise or React Media. You need a press release. You want to be on TV. You want to be on radio. Look us up. We'll help you get out there. We'll help get your pod up. We'll help get everything you need to do in order to make your name. Everybody, thanks for joining in. Jigsaw's Judgment today. We'll catch you tonight, probably. And if not, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll talk to you next time.